Hello, I'm John Hammond with NoFest. Today we're going to go over the Clarke TFC400, how to use the machine and how to maintain it. So this is going to help you when you get your new machine to understand how to get it prepped to use and how to operate the machine, and then afterward how to clean it up and how to maintain it. So first things first, we need power, of course. So I've got my power plug. I've also got a pigtail down at the bottom. So I've got the pigtail plugged in, and then I've got my power plug that has the GFCI adapter on it. So if you plug it in and you find the red light is not on, hit the reset button and it should turn it on. So give me one moment, I'll plug it in and we'll get rolling. Okay, I've got my power plugged in. Before we get started, of course, we need to add water to the machine. So the fill port for the machine is right here on the corner. And you can see I can add water directly in right here. I've also got this nice hose that's about 5 feet long. If I need to hook it up to a sink or a wall outlet for water, I can do that. And the adapter here, it comes with a male and female fitting in case you need to use it to get the water into the machine. All right, and we're only going to put pure water in the machine. The machine itself is actually going to draw chemicals from the backside. So I've got my water in my machine. I'm going to show you how to prime it in a moment, but I also want to get my chemicals set up. So my chemicals here go on the back. You can use a square 1 gallon jug or a round one. Today I have a square one, and I'm going to use a metering tip. You get a little bag of these metering tips that show you the different dilution rates based on your chemicals. In this case, I've got a peroxide cleaner. It's 2 ounces per gallon, so I'm going to use a little pink tip. So right inside of here, I'm going to pop this tip off. And if you see that little piece of plastic, I just fit that right in there based on the chemical, dilution rate I want. I'm going to put it back together. I'm going to put that right inside of my chemicals, and the machine is going to draw the chemicals for me. We don't put it in from the wall, we put it in undiluted chemicals right on the back here. The machine will mix it for us. All right. So the next thing I want to do, since I'm just using this machine for the first time, I want to prime the hose. So this is my priming hose. Don't lose this. This is what's going to prime your machine. It's a low-powered pressure washer, so you want to make sure it's primed properly before you operate the machine. So I'm going to attach this here, and a quick rundown. This is my pump for my sprayer. This is my chemical selection, so I can select the chemicals on the left or on the right, depending on how you're standing. Put it right down the middle is going to be pure water. And then this is my vacuum hose. That's how I turn the vacuum on. I'm sorry, the vacuum switch, how I turn the vacuum on. But right now I'm going to turn the pump on once I get it set. I'm going to take my priming hose and put it directly into the fresh water in the tank. Then I'm going to turn it on. I want to operate this until the water flows smooth and clear. So just give it 30 seconds, maybe 1 minute. I've already primed this one to make sure everything was working, but you see how the water is running nice and smooth and clear? That's what you want to see. You don't want any bubbles or anything else left in the line that can damage the pump. I'll turn my pump off, disconnect my hose and run the rest of the water out. And then I can put that away. Of course, you got your little caddy here. You can put your hoses in, your squeegees if you'd like to, your priming tips, paperwork, whatever you need to. That's there for you, but that's where I like to keep my priming hose. Next up, I'm going to attach the spray hose right here. I'm going to get my gun ready. Or sprayer, I shouldn't say gun. This might be turning the school. All right. So the way this machine works, it's kind of a process-oriented approach. Generally, what you're going to do is take the machine, apply a chemical. So I'm going to switch it over to this side, the side my chemical is on. I'm going to put it in the low power mode, and I'm going to apply the chemicals to any fixtures, sinks, toilets, walls, you name it. Anything you need to apply the chemicals to, I'm going to apply the chemicals to those fixtures. Then we're going to let the chemicals set. If we can, we'll do one side and then do the other side of the restroom, the boys' room and the girls' room. If you have one big, large bathroom, that's fine as well. You just want to allow the chemicals to set for the manufacturer's recommended dwell time before you come in and try to clean it. So, got my chemicals on. I'm going to turn my pump on, and I've got my hose. Now I'm going to come over here and spray this outside so we're not wetting anything too much. But as I turn it on, you'll know when you start getting your chemicals that it starts to bubble up, especially if you have a colored chemical. You can see the foam coming out. So, I'm going to go around and I'm going to apply this on all the fixtures, the walls, you name it. We're going to allow that chemical to set in there and do its job. All right? Now again, this is a process-oriented approach. We're just doing a quick showing how to use this. So we're going to go ahead and turn this off for now. So allow my chemicals to set. While they're setting, I've got a brush right on the back of the machine that I can take off. You'll see you've got a brush on one side and a squeegee on the other. And I can get around the really dirty spots like urinals, around the, especially boys' urinals, things of that nature. You get those dirty spots and get it with my brush while that chemical is setting on the ground and the chemicals are working in, so I can get the really bad spots. Again, especially around the urinals, you're going to notice a lot of discoloration coming out of the floor and a lot of smells coming up as well, but this brush really helps. After that's completed, if you have a low point drain on the floor, most of the time you do. If you're not, don't worry. But if you do, there's actually a squeegee on the back side of this where I can channel the water into that low point drain. So I can just push the whole bathroom into that low point drain and get around it. So once that's done, I'm going to go ahead and put my brush off to the side for a moment. Next up, I'm going to come in with my high power on the pressure washer. It's not super high, it's 400 PSI. Reason it is 400 PSI instead of 1,000 PSI or 2,000 PSI is that it's powerful enough to get things cleaned, like grout lines or caulk lines around a sink. It's going to get it clean, but it's not going to blow them out completely and destroy the floor or the caulk lines or anything else. So, put it in a high power mode, and turn my pump on again. I'm going to run it for a moment to make sure I get any chemicals out. And the way I think of this is kind of like cocking a shotgun or something if you've ever used a shotgun. Otherwise, you might think of it differently, but I'm going to pull it in on this fixture here. Pull it in like that. And now you can see I've got my high power spray. I can get in and around the grout lines. Recommend you get on the top sides of the toilet, underneath the urinals. You can even clean inside the toilet, but keep in mind, don't get too close to the toilets when you're cleaning the inside. Otherwise, you might get sprayed in the face with a little bit of toilet water. Ask me how I know. Recommend you wear eye protection, maybe a mask or gloves as well while you're doing this. But with that high pressure spray, you can get just about anything to get the walls clean, anything else. So I've gotten all my fixtures clean. I've gotten the toilet clean around the bowl, around the lid and everything else. I can then twist this counterclockwise like so, and I'm going to put it on fan spray. You can see now I can fan out and spray off all the fixtures, rinse any chemicals off, anything else I need to rinse. Everything cleaned up. Of course, I can always go back to my low power if I need to. Now, if you have it still in the fan mode, it's not going to work well. You have to twist it back to the power mode. And I can rinse this way as well, but generally the high power fan mode works best to rinse things off. So I've got everything rinsed off. Everything's clean. I come back, turn my pump off. All right, I'm going to turn my pump off. Again, if we can squeegee stuff to the floor, we prefer to do that. The tank isn't quite as large on the recovery because generally most of the water is going to run down the drain. But if you don't have a low point drain, not a problem. If you do, use your squeegee. Next up, I've got my wet dry vac. So I've got the two pieces to the vacuum right here. And this is a stretchy cord. It looks like it's short, but it'll actually extend up to 25 feet. So I'm going to go ahead and put it together. All right. There we go. And on this head here, when you attach this, it's simply a screw lock. And you'll notice kind of a dip inside here. If this isn't moving freely when you attach it, then something's not right. So that just goes in like so, and you tighten it down. But if it's tight, it shouldn't be. Tighten it down, and it should be able to move freely like so, even when this is tight. So if that's not operating that way, go ahead and pull this, wiggle it a little bit. That way that ring will fit properly, and you can tighten it down. So I've got my wand attached from a wet dry vac. Then with the switch, I turn on my wet dry vac. We'll pick up and forward and reverse around the corner. It kind of acts as a bit of a squeegee, so you squeeze the water along, pick up and reverse, and it will twist as well. So if you need to twist it, you get underneath urinals or different areas, it'll work pretty well to get in there. But otherwise, you pick the water up, get the floor nice and dry, work your way out of the room because it is going to be wet, work your way back toward the doorway. When you're finished, you can turn that vacuum off, disconnect it, and it fits right back into the machine here. Like so. This little hanger, you could either hang your hose on that like so. You could also hang a wet floor sign right here on the side, kind of useful. Otherwise, package everything up and you're done with that bathroom. So the next step we're going to show you is how to clean the machine. Before I get too far into the maintenance, so I do want to show you this hose up front. This is how we're going to dump out our dirty water. It's toilet dump height, so if you can't go all the way back to the janitor's closet, you can just dump it right there in the toilet. and plug it back up here. And again, if you need to refill it, we've always got our hose if you need to refill into that restroom if you run out of water. And of course, didn't cover it, but you've got your squeegee. If you need to squeegee down the walls or anything to dry the bathroom faster, you can do that. Suck up the water. But that's the basics of how to operate the machine. Next, we're going to jump into maintenance in just a moment. Okay, now we're going to cover daily and weekly maintenance on the machine. Daily maintenance is fairly simple. You're going to make sure that everything is nice and clean before you put it away. I've kind of pulled some of the tools off the machine now so I can kind of get to the inner workings to show you, but essentially daily maintenance, you're going to dump out your dirty water right here with a hose, and then two, I'm going to open up right on top here the dirty water access. I'm going to rinse this out really well and clean the water out just like an auto scrubber or a carpet extractor. But I do want to show you, I can't really get the camera in there to show you, but if I reach into the tank and forward and pull down, you'll feel a cage. If I wiggle that down, that's your ball float valve on the machine, just like an auto scrubber. We never want to operate the machine without the ball float on there, and we always want to make sure the ball's moving freely before we operate the machine. This is going to float up and shut the vacuum motor off if the water gets too full. So if this is missing and you suck up too much water, you run the risk of sucking water through your vacuum motor and it'll burn out the motor. It's really bad and it's an expensive repair. So just make sure this is moving freely and it's clean, and you're good to go. Put it back in, hold on to it, reach forward, and you'll feel the ring where it fits, and it just presses right back in there. It doesn't twist or anything, just presses right back in. When you clean this out, go ahead and leave it open, sitting off to the side so it'll air dry just like your auto scrubber. All right. So in terms of weekly maintenance, it's not a ton, but if you come around back here, I've already taken some stuff off to show you, like this hose. Right here, there's a bolt that goes into the machine. I take it out, I leave it in on my machine because I have to transport it so often, but I took it out to show you how this works. And I'm gonna remove this hose right here, okay? I'm gonna grab right here, not the handle, it's not gonna go anywhere, but I'm gonna grab right here on the base and lift the machine open. Now, you can see you can get to your inner workings of the machine. I will say this, I wouldn't mess with any of this stuff. Leave everything the way it is, but one thing you will find, after a while, this little solution filter right here will get clogged, and it's just like the solution filter on your auto scrubber, same concept. I wanna make sure the tank is empty, pop this off, get it clean, and put it back on. On an auto scrubber, we do this for weekly maintenance. On this machine, you could probably get by with a month, but over time it will get clogged up. You'll have little bits of plastic or anything that comes through the water will kind of clog that filter up. So that's how you access it. You take that bolt out, take that off, put it back on, but again, make sure the tank is completely empty of water before you do that. Now to empty the water out of the tank, again, just water. We're not putting any chemicals in the solution tank, just water, just fresh water. Right underneath the machine here, now it is full, so it's a little heavy for me, but right underneath here, this little cap, if I take this cap off, the fresh water is gonna flow right out. So that's how I empty out the clean water on the tank so I can check that solution filter. One last thing that is helpful to do, and you will find this, especially if you're using a disinfectant or some type of chemical like that really coagulates, is you want to clean out your chemical mixing system. So to clean out your chemical mixing system, just go ahead and take this off. I'd recommend just taking the dilution tip off completely. Put it in a jug of fresh water, a cup, whatever. That way, when you run it, you're going to access those chemicals just like you're spraying the chemicals out of the machine. Just find a toilet or a sink or something else, spray it out, but you're drawing fresh water through the chemical system to flush those lines out. Like I said, I know this from experience on my own demo unit that I left some disinfectant in there and it coagulated and it clogged the line. So the next time I tried to use it, it was not running smoothly. So I recommend once a week, go ahead and get some fresh water, clean those chemical lines out, and your machine will be running for a long time for you. Any questions, always feel free to reach out to No Fisk or to your dealer and we'll get you taken care of. Thank you for your time today.